What if tomorrow life took away everything you thought you were supposed to do? Your job, your business, your career, your plans, your position, your platform, even the path you spent years preparing for. Would you still know who you are? Because maybe your purpose was never the thing you were doing, or maybe it was the reason why you were doing what you were doing.
Still alive, make it count. Still alive, you don't have forever.
July 18th, 1918, in the small village of Umvezo, South Africa, a boy is born. His name is Rolihlahla Mandela. He grows up in South Africa, where the color of your skin determines where you can live. This wasn't simply prejudice. It was a system designed to control millions of people because they were black, or should I say, because they were black. And as Mandela grows older, something becomes clear. He cannot accept it. Mandela doesn't begin life knowing exactly what his purpose is. He doesn't have a 5-step plan or a vision board. He doesn't even know what his final destination will look like. But he discovers something more important, something that matters to him: freedom, equality, dignity. A South Africa where a person's future is not determined by the color of their skin. And that becomes his why. And then he searches for his what. At first, his what was activism, then organizing, then resistance. And when peaceful resistance is violently suppressed and political opposition is banned, his method becomes more radical. In 1961, he becomes involved in the formation of the Umkhonto Sizwe, the armed wing of the African National Congress, the ANC. August 5th, 1962, Mandela is arrested, and 2 years later, he is sentenced to life imprisonment. He is sent to Robben Island, 27 years. Imagine that. 27 years. Most people struggle with delayed plan for 27 months and are totally crushed. But Mandela spent 27 years behind bars. His freedom taken, his career taken, the life he imagined taken. The what he's using to pursue his mission is gone. And this is where purpose is being tested. Because it is easy to say you have a purpose when everything is going according to plan. It is easy to believe in your calling when doors are opening. But what happens when doors stop opening? What happens when opportunities disappear? What happens if the person you thought you would become is no longer possible? If your job is your purpose, what happens when you lose the job? If the business is your purpose, what happens if the business collapses? And if your position is your purpose, what happens when somebody replaces you? Mandela's story gives us an answer. Don't confuse your what with your why. Inside prison, Mandela could have decided, boy, I'm tired. This is game over. But something remarkable happens. He adapts, he learns, he studies, he develops relationships with people he once only saw as enemies. He learns Afrikaans, the language of many of his political opponents. And slowly, his methods begins to change. A man who believed resistance required some kind of action begins preparing for something different. Dialogue, negotiation, reconciliation. His what changes, but his why doesn't. And that is the difference between a goal and a purpose. A strategy can fail. A business can collapse. A plan can become impossible. But a genuine purpose can survive all of them. Maybe this is why most of us feel lost. We know what we want to do, but why do we want to do them? We say we want to be rich. Okay, but why? Yes, we want to be famous. Why? We want to start a business. Why? I want to become a doctor. Why? I want to be successful. What does success mean to you? Because if we don't answer these questions, we can spend our entire life climbing a ladder, only to discover that it is leaning on the wrong wall. Your purpose isn't necessarily your profession, your salary, your job, your title. Your purpose, it's more deeper. What problems breaks your heart? What injustice gets you angry? What change would you like to see around you or in the world? What are you naturally drawn towards? What will you keep doing even when nobody is applauding you? These questions takes you beneath the surface and gives you a deeper understanding of your purpose. Because most times, your purpose is hiding underneath those things you cannot ignore, those things you cannot look away from. February 11th, 1990, Nelson Mandela walks out of prison 27 years after he walked in. And look at what happened. A man who went into prison as a resistance leader emerges into a different world where his previous plans have gone obsolete. So he changes again. He negotiates. He compromises where necessary. He builds. He reconciles. And in 1994, he becomes the first black president of democratic South Africa after the country's first fully inclusive election. The what had changed several times, but the why had survived. Mandela didn't know exactly what his life would look like when he started. He couldn't have predicted prison. He couldn't have predicted 27 years behind bars. He couldn't have predicted becoming the president, but he knew what mattered. It gave him purpose. Maybe you are frustrated because your life isn't going to plan. Maybe your business failed. Maybe the dream you had at 20 doesn't make sense anymore. Don't panic just because your what changed. It's time to go deeper and ask yourself, why do I want this in the first place? Who was I trying to help? What problem was I trying to solve? What kind of person was I trying to become? Because sometimes life doesn't destroy your purpose. It destroys the version of the plan that you thought will take you there. And that's different. Your what can change, your strategy can change, even your destination can change. But when you discover a why that is worth living for, you can build another what, and another, and another, until you find the path that fits. Don't spend your whole life occupying space, fitting into other people's reality and paying bills. You are not here to pay bills and die. Discover why you were created and let your what carry your why into the world. You are still alive. That means your story is not over. Make it count.